Okay, we're live, guys. Hold on. Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Mike Matthews for the Limping for Jesus podcast. I am so excited to have my guests, Matt and Candace Bosco, with me. They are joining us today to talk about the importance of Christian couples to serve together in the church. I think this conversation will bless you. I met these people. I met them last year through my wife Sarah. Sarah knows them better than I did, but getting to know them through the spiritual growth group at their church, um, they are the perfect people to have on this podcast, and it is their first ever podcast. So
Yay.
be kind in the comments. I know the internet will be the internet sometimes. So if you're new to the channel, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe and like the channel. Help us grow our Limping for Jesus community. Uh, we exist to help people limp well for Jesus and to limp loved for Jesus. We are all limping somehow, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, or relationally, and we all need help to trust God in hard things. Okay, so Matt has been a Christian for 35 years. Uh, he's been serving at the same church, the Log Church, for 20 years. And uh, Candace, I'm glad the Bible geek in me, I'm excited to hear about your background. She has firsthand knowledge of several different levels of church leadership. Her grandparents planted church, started a Bible college. So both sides of her family were Christians. Uh, she's from Greensburg, PA, has history in administrative work. She has three kids. Matt is a director at the University of Pitt, Financial and Administration Operations. Right? Did I get that right? So, so did I get
Yes.
your Okay, all right. Okay,
Good
so
job.
okay, go Pitt fans, I guess. Okay, all right. I won't say that I'm a Miami Hurricane
Yeah, go
fan.
Pitt.
Yeah. So okay. So all right. All right. So
Well, we just wanted
so
to thank you too for having us on. We're really excited and to give us this opportunity. So it's awesome what you're doing, and we think you're doing a great job. So we wanted to help support all that you have and all that you're doing, and the whole idea of limping for Jesus.
oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I really want to help the local church, and I want people to trust God again and trust the local church again. Like, I had Matt and Candace, one of their pastors, on the show this week, and it was about the healthy church. And the first thing that their pastor Sam did was admit that even their church is not perfectly healthy. That is a great sign of a healthy church, to know that you're not perfect. There is no perfect church, but there is
People,
that. Yeah, that is a great community. Because a lot of churches, they play church on Sunday, and it's a superficial relationship, but a real church will help you. And we talked about uh, Stronghold Week in Rooted, and he explained that and how you get real with a community. And so, okay, so okay, I want to ask you, starting off with our first question. I think this is so important for couples to hear, like for especially like we were talking before we went on air. Um, like typically, the guy will do a ministry or feel called to a ministry, and the woman is supposed to just do whatever the guy does. So the question is, what was your path to ministry together as a couple?
basically probably right before, well, it was like right when COVID hit, we went sort of into a shutdown. He had approached us and asked if we'd want to do a rooted virtually. So we said it. And when we did that, it was our first time together, sort of serving in
I was actually in the middle of moving from Greensburg, so I was packing up boxes and cleaning, organizing. It was really challenging but exciting at the same time, and that was also the first time that we did anything like this, to be able to open up and share in front of a camera when you're not really in front of people. So, and then of course everybody got used to the idea.
Mm. You guys, can you guys still hear me?
it's breaking up
Yeah,
pretty.
you're kind of I don't you're kind of choppy sometimes, but could you guys explain a little bit what root it was for our audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rooted is a 10, 11 week program, and it's 6 or 7 session seasons. And you would think that the story, the idea would get old for us because we've replayed it several times. So every time I do it, I learn something new. I learn something more. The people that get involved, they share. We share ideas, experiences. That name, it makes the whole program new and exciting, to share stories and have an impact on each other. And just when God reveals something new to my heart. So I feel like I'm constantly learning and constantly growing, and it's challenging me at the same time. So
Yeah, we yeah, you have to spend a lot of time, whenever you're, you know, doing something or facilitating or leading something, it's not really gonna help you, but it really helps you more than probably anybody because of all the preparation and all the different things you have to do to talking back and forth we have to do week to week, what we're going to do each week, who's going to take sort of what questions and such. So ministry together and seeing people grow through that ministry and take steps, in
Mm.
their faith has been just vitally important and
You still there? Can you hear me?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I gotta say it's like for my wife Sarah, she went through Root It with you guys once, and it really got her open to actually wanting uh, a mature Christian husband and wanting that she at one point she said she would never have liked my dating profile, knowing that I was a pastor, but Root It gave her the maturity to understand that yeah, I could be open to dating a guy with who was in ministry. I mean that worked for me. Plus, she liked my pickup line too. I said my pickup line was, "I made cerebral palsy the sexiest of all the palsies." So I had enough game to get her to like that profile. So yeah, but Rooted is a great thing, and so okay.
yeah,
Okay.
we can't say enough
Here.
about the program.
Yeah, I loved it. I
It's an
definitely
awesome program.
I definitely think more churches should have spiritual growth programs like that. Like a lot of times that kind of gets lost under like a membership class, but I when I took it the second time with her, I was amazed by the different denominations who was coming to the log church to take it. I thought that was amazing. I mean, in our group, excuse me, in our group, we had like several people from the Catholic Church taken rooted, and I thought that was amazing. I really like God's really using that to make impact for the kingdom. Okay, the next question I have for you guys: um, how has God used you together to make a greater impact for the kingdom versus doing it as an individual?
Oh yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's I don't I don't think, I mean, we wouldn't be probably like what we're doing right now. So I think it makes a greater impact, you know, in the sense that she has certain gifts that I don't have. And obviously, if you're, a single woman or a single guy, obviously, you can serve in any capacity too, and be, very good at doing that. But I think it's very powerful, when we can come together and do things where hospitable, where that's her gift, so she welcomes people into a group or welcomes people into our house, whereas I'm more, the person that's like organizing, things don't go off without a hitch. So we work together really well in our different giftings. And so, it's one of the things, obviously, that you learn through being in a relationship is, you have certain strengths and weaknesses. God gives you certain giftings also, that He wants you to use. So we're just excited
Yeah.
about that. So
I would definitely agree. Matt is the type of person that, when Pastor Sam said, hey, he's really excited about this program, and he approached Matt, is this something you'd like to start and help out with the church, or just to go, just take it and go? Like, he doesn't think about it. Whereas me individually, I want to analyze it kind of and think about it. And what if this and what if that, and just take the reins with it and go forward. So that's the most awesome thing, is that we do work together with our person. Taking it forward would never have happened if it was just me trying to do it individually. So that's something that I'm really excited about and proud of.
Yeah, and it is harder when as a couple you don't do ministry together, and you don't allow each other's gifts to shine. It's harder to do that. It's harder to just do ministry when you don't have that kind of partnership. I know for me, I'm a dreamer. I dream big. Um, I God gives me a idea or a vision for ministry, and I just see it down the road. But Sarah will be like, pull me back and say, okay, what's the baby steps you need to take to get there? Like, how many volunteers do we need? Who's going to do the outreach? All that stuff. So I'm geared to. We need each other in marriage and in ministry. Christian couples need each other, and I hope that if people watch this episode and they are single, this is something that you should aim for. That couples, because marriage, we know from the Bible, is a picture of Jesus and His bride, the church. So we get to showcase that type of love through the way we serve. Okay,
And
so
Mike, just real quick on that point, I think it's important too, if you're, whether you're dating or thinking about dating or engaged or whatever it might be, that, you know, don't, you know, don't think that, once you get married, like you want to do this like now, like, like when we met, Candace's biggest thing was like she wanted to be what she said was somebody that wants to serve, and so I didn't just say, oh, I want to do this, like we did it. So a
yeah,
lot of people talk, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like you have to show action, right? So it's
Mm,
we not only talked about it, but we went and did it. And so
yeah.
when you go and do something together, then it works out a lot of things also just in your relationship, because now you're having
Yeah.
to deal with being on time for things and preparing for things, and
Mm,
helping other people. And when you're doing that together, it can either grow you together or pull you apart, because obviously if your partner's not interested in that, then that might pose an issue.
Yeah, needing to
yeah.
be fully engaged. I mean, it's a time commitment, and some people would think of it as a sacrifice, but I feel like even before we met, I just knew in my heart that I had the desire to serve. And when I began dating Matt and we were going through like the dating process and we both had the same vision and the same heart, it just made it that much more clear to me that this is our, like, I just feel like this is our purpose, is to, and I don't know where that's going to take open, and allow God to move in whatever direction that he would have us to go. But it's just awesome that we get to grow and exciting, because it's not like he's dragging me along or I'm dragging him along.
Mm,
It's something
amen.
that we really truly get to experience this together as a friendship and as a married couple. So
Yeah, and if you're single or you're a young couple, uh, I'm not talking about every couple needs to be in vocational ministry. Matt and Candace are not; they're not on staff, um, but they're showing you that if you want to be serious about impacting the kingdom for Jesus, no matter where you're at, it is good for a couple to serve together. Whether that's, and I don't want to do the pastor thing and say, if you're a young couple and don't have kids, volunteer in the nursery, because that happens all the time. Uh, um, the need is not the call. So don't, what I'm telling you, whatever you guys have different gifts, different calling, do it together, serve together. And because, me and Sam talked about how, why people are disconnected at, like, actually going to a local church, and so many people are like self-centered right now, and they're disconnected, and it was COVID really made it worse. But you guys are living proof that, serve together. Make sure you want to be with someone that wants to serve in the church, because what gets thrown out all the time is unequally yoked. Okay, we often will say when a believer is married to an unbeliever or dating an unbeliever, but unequally yoked could also mean spiritual maturity. And if you're with somebody that doesn't want to serve, and you want to serve, you better have that conversation before you say "I do."
mhm. Right, because I think it's more about, for us, it's, I'll just speak personally, then
Mm-hmm.
you can answer to that too. But I feel like it's like before we were together, I would say that, I knew, like, growing up, my family, they all served and they were in different various, ministries and whatnot. And I saw that growing up. And, I knew that was not I almost felt like not an obligation, but it wasn't truly like I know I should do it. So I'll serve here and I'll help out here and there, but it wasn't truly in my heart. And I feel like that the Lord over the last several years has just really changed my heart to having a desire, instead of it being like it's something that I'm obligated to have to do or just to check it off my list
Mm,
because I know I should be doing it. I feel like we truly are wanting to do it more of as like a lifestyle. Like we don't even think about it. It's just a part of our life that we do together. Because, and I know coming under the log church with the ministry, like, they promote so much, and we believe that it's about helping and serving others. Like, so it's not that we have to, it's that now we truly want to. And it's
mm,
not that it has to be a certain thing that we're serving in or a certain thing that we feel like we want to do, or it's just wherever God would have us to go. it doesn't matter. It's now for me, it's now a heart issue that I want to be available. I want my heart to be available to wherever God's calling or leading for us, and obviously to come under, you, Matt, as my husband now, to what you feel like the direction is for our marriage, and that would, go into where you would feel like we should serve together.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's just important too to realize like it really doesn't, like Candace was saying to her point, but just to anybody out there, like it really, it's not so much like what you're doing and what capacity. Sometimes it takes you jumping around to a bunch of different things to find out like
Mm.
where you want to go, and then sometimes God moves you in another place. The key is just being available and saying like, God, wherever you would have me to serve, that's where I'll serve, wherever that place may be. And so I know, like, for Candace and I, we were just talking about this today, the other day, just saying like, you lead us, go wherever you would lead us, that's where we would go. Now of course, things, your flesh comes in, or your what you want comes in, and sometimes that's in conflict. But at the end of the day, we get excited about what is God gonna do through us, because it's definitely not anything that we can do in our own strength. So it's what he wants us to do. And I think just
Yeah, because I know Sarah married a pastor, and she joined like private pastor wives groups. She really is getting a taste of pastor and pastor's families, and this goes to other Christian relationship. They feel like the pastor wives are feeling like they have to do something. Like like I have to do Sunday school, or I like they don't do it out of joy. They don't do it out of like it's something like you go to tithing is an example. Like Paul tells us, give cheerfully. Like give because you want to give, not because 10% will heal your cancer
Right.
or get you that car. That's not what the heart of the scripture is. So it goes with serving. So many young couples that I talk to that I think that and I touched on this with Sam is a lot of the reason why young people are jaded and they're not connected with church. And I'm talking about people who say they're Christians in their 20s, late teens, whatever, um, is because they see the church on the pages of scripture and they don't see it in real life.
Mm.
So what we are seeing is couples can be that church. There are real Christians out there who are who are being the hands and feet of Jesus, and this episode and why I had you guys on is because I believe that the best way to do this is in marriage
Right.
and as a married couple. So God can do amazing things
Mhm.
uh, with marriage, serving the church. Okay, so this question, I I hope it wasn't a tough one when I sent it to you. So, what challenges have you experienced as a couple, or seeing that others couples face in ministry?
So I think a big one is communication. So I'll just focus on that. I mean, obviously, there's a number of ways we can go with this, but um, we try to make sure we're in constant communication with each other, regardless of what it might be. So we have like a calendar that we have out on the kitchen table. We have our iPhones with our calendar there, but it's also nice to have something physically that you can see. And so we are in constant communication as to where we're going, what we're doing, how we're doing it, because then that way we're on the same page. It's not like, hey, where's Matt or where's Candace or I didn't know you were here or there. Like we are in constant communication with each other during the day, and I think that a part of that is to just make sure that also the other person understands what you're saying. So sometimes, if you say something and you think that she hears what you're saying, she may be listening, but she really didn't grasp what you were saying. So sometimes I'd have to follow up and be like, well, can you tell me what you think I said to you? Because sometimes their interpretation or vice versa is
Mm,
different. So I think that's like a big challenge for us. Um, we also like to keep short accounts on things. So like
yeah.
I'm always constantly messing up and probably saying or doing things that, not constantly, but doing things that I'm like, man, why did I say that or do that? And so before we go to bed, make sure you clean up, whatever that is. You don't want to keep
Yeah.
accounts. So we try to keep short accounts with each other. If I, we always have these moments where we wish we wouldn't have said that or did that because we're frustrated or we're in a
Yeah.
hurry, and it hurts our spouse, it hurts our marriage. And so I think, if you're able to talk about things, talk them through, and also be somebody that's willing to say they're sorry and what you're
Yeah.
sorry for, that's a challenge that I think a lot of couples face. So if you can do that, that'd be good. That's a
So when you guys say communication, and if they heard me right, do you guys were kind of explaining the speaker listener technique. So will you when someone says something, like if Matt says something, Candace, will you replay or rephrase that to see if you got him, or do you
Something
guys talk to?
right, something like that will, where this is what I hear, this is what I feel. I always
Yeah.
try to,
Okay.
I think for women it's more of a like a feeling thing. And
Mm,
that's really pretty much to the point type A personality. So
mm,
I like to like, we did you mean it like that? That sort of thing where, I'm like, because I feel this way. I'm always like, I don't like to like point fingers, that type of thing, but it's more
mm,
just about, just clearing everything out. But for the most part, I think that we don't have too many challenges. You said, what are the challenges? But I think that if you can find a partner that you can, like you were saying before, like your strengths and my strengths, we can blend them together and we can grow and we can learn together. And I think like I just watch you and what your strengths are. It would be a challenge for me. But so I think like the challenge is like letting you go with what your strengths are, which are like organization and, just structure and things like that. And then having me kind of follow along with, going kind of with the flow so that we don't have more challenges. Because if it was him going this way and me going that way, I think things would be a lot more challenging. But I think somebody, for the most part, has to be the leader. I mean, not saying that we can't come together and come up with an understanding of how things are going to go, but I think it helps to have a strong leader and a strong follower and then come together and collaborate with ideas and stuff. So that would be, I would say, something to help with challenging, the strategy of coming together with.
Yeah, one other challenge I think is, just when couples are just going in two different directions. Like, one is going this way and the other one's going that way. And, we just try to do a lot of things together. So
mm,
whatever we can do together, we do. I mean, obviously, not everything we do together. We both, work different jobs and we both, do some different activities, but we try to do a lot of things together and spend that time together.
yeah. Well, like there are times where we need, like me and Sarah, we do not have the same. Like I am a nerd for pro wrestling. She tolerates it. She wants to go to a show with me. She'll watch it with me sometimes. But there's individual hobbies and that I think it's needed. But when it comes to like serving together in the body of Christ, we need to be on the same page. If Sarah didn't believe in limping for Jesus, didn't believe in me as a pastor, that would be an issue. It would be trying to serve the Lord I'd be going against the grain. So the fact that the way Sarah helps me with ministry is, behind the scenes and stuff like that, and but that's what Matt and Candace is saying is you guys got to be on the same page. So what I would advise any couple is pray about when the opportunity is presented and ask questions like, what is Jesus asking us as a couple if we can meet that need? Because I know as a pastor, I've seen a lot of couples, and when I was a youth pastor, and people will come to me, and they're like, I really want to volunteer with the youth. And I would be like, well, Bob, did you ask Janet? Because it causes problems. Like if Bob just out of the blue wants to volunteer with youth ministry, and God hasn't spoken to his wife, and little Timmy and Johnny has baseball practice the night that youth group happens, we're gonna have stress. So it is important to be on the same page, because I do believe that God confirms callings, and he's in the marriage. If God calls the husband to do something, he's going to give the wife peace. And a lot of times I see young people and young couples rush into opportunities, and they don't pray about it, they don't talk about it, they just do it, and then 6 months, 8 months down the road, they're causing it just causes fights.
Well, and I think to add to that, I think a lot of it, like as far as the challenge, is with time and your time and how you structure your time. So if you're both on the same page, you have to be well organized. You have to set priorities, and so like if Johnny and Timmy are in 10 different activities, well, what's your priority, And so you can't, like, it's life stressful as it is. So is your priority to, serve each other? Is your priority to be involved in 10 different activities? It's better to cut things out. And this is what you've, like, I've learned so much from serving from Matt, just because you're so good at being able to cut through all the garbage. Like I add. Oh yeah, we can go to Timmy's basketball game and the practice, and we'll fit that in, and then we'll serve, and then But you're like, no, this is like, let's think about how the structure is going to be. So I think it takes away the stress when you're organized, when you set up the time. But again, it goes back to priorities. So like, it has to be a priority. You have to want to serve. You have to carve that time out, and again, if your heart's not in it, you're going to maybe just serve to check it off your list. But if your heart's truly wanting to serve, then you're going to say, hey, look, maybe Timmy can do baseball every other season, because our priority now as a couple is like, we want to help and serve the church, and we can't do everything. So I was just trying to add your point with that.
Yeah, that's good. And like going over this is important why women and men need to serve together in the church. Like going over your bio, like you have a lot of experience serving in church, Candace, and your grandfather started a Bible college, and so you have a lot of experience that can help.
And that was in Virginia. So I'm from Pennsylvania, so I know from a distance. Like I wasn't right there serving. It's called the School of the Prophets. But in Greensburg, on my other side, my great grandmother had started a church in Greensburg. So I was able to uncles and cousins, and grandmother was at the piano every Sunday. So it was a big part.
I feel like so much attention is centered around the husband side of things, that God also, I want sisters in Christ to hear this episode and say,
Can't hear.
There you go.
There, we can hear you.
Are you back?
Yeah,
guys. Sorry, real life happens on podcasting. Yeah. Oh, Dana just had my drop. Very funny, Dana. Thank you. Okay. So
That's
So
awesome.
what? Yeah, okay. Palsy Hannon's a jerk. I'm telling you, he needs he needs saved. Someone out there have enough faith to get me healed. I'll
Yeah.
put it on. I'll put it on you guys. Okay, just like the friends who lowered the disabled guys
Yeah.
down through the roof.
Yeah.
That he got healed because of their faith. So so if I still have CP guys out there in
That's
YouTube, man, it's your fault, not mine. Okay, so okay, so I want to ask you guys, um, uh, if you have Matt, if you have advice for Christian husbands, and then after that, Candace, if you have advice for Christian wives.
Yeah, I mean, this is sometimes a tough one, but because we fail as men so much, but you know to to sup- to lead by an example. So as the man, you lead by example, in what your actions are. Like, again, I'm more of a person that does something than would rather do something than talk about it. So my actions need to be, showing what I'm saying. Sometimes that backfires because sometimes Candace wants me to say, "You need to tell me, you love me more," or this or that. But I show her by example. I show her things and do things for her in that way. So I think, that's one. But just supporting your wife and encouraging her to take steps out of her comfort zone and in her faith, giving her that room, giving her that grace, giving her that that support that that would encourage her or help her so she feels comfortable with pursuing something new. You don't want to say, okay, yeah, pursue that other thing, but also you got to make sure that this and this is taken care of or whatever. Like, give her allow her the opportunity and support her in it. Don't prevent her from wanting to seek, steps of faith, whatever that might be, whether that's continuing in education or changing jobs or something in ministry, just to be, a supporter of her, and being an encourager, and figuring out whatever you have to do to make that work for her. If that means that you have to
Mm.
get up, a half hour earlier, or you have to go to bed an hour later because you're trying to make it work, for your wife so that she can do something. That's important. And also, again, just the words, how you speak to your wife, how you talk to your wife.
Mm.
They need to sometimes, I need to be more gentle with how I say things, or not just right to the point. So,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, what's the quickest way from A to B? It's like, a quick sentence instead of drawn out. So I think that's sort of my advice for husbands. I'll kind of leave
And
it
and I
there.
will say you do such a very good job. I really appreciate. For 20 years I'm the one that cooked, and it's so nice to come home and he takes the burden off my plate. So I feel like, um you're always doing things for me to make my life easier. So I really do. I'll publicly appreciate you on that one.
Yeah.
Um, so from my perspective, I just think like
Thank you.
for wives, what I would say is to enjoy the experience. There's just so much that we've learned by working and serving together. It doesn't even feel like it's like working. It's like every time we do something, well, don't get me wrong, we work because we do work. But it's a joy. It's like a privilege. And I feel like that's what I've really noticed about, and I want to continue to do
Mm.
more because I feel grateful for the opportunity. Like there's so many times where I didn't realize like we get to do something in the church or outside of the church, like that's helping and serving, and it's an honor. Like, and I didn't realize how much we would grow from it. So I would say, like, wives, just be open to the idea if your husband's, saying that he wants to lead or help or serve in this direction or that direction, that you would just be open to the idea. Because there's just so many things that we've learned, and we've grown together as a couple, and we've grown, individually. It's awesome. So enjoy those moments, because why not do something together, and why not, if you're going to do something together, why not it be beneficial to not just yourself but to other people. So
Mm.
I don't know, I'm really super excited about seeing where God's going to take us, and to see how he's going to use us. And I would just encourage other people to jump on board, because you know, personally, I'm tired of, living a selfish life. I want to, the more we give, the more exciting it is. And it's everything like is backwards in God's kingdom. So, when you think you're living for yourself and you're happy in that, it's truly when you give more of your time and more of yourself that we've had more joy. I've had more joy. Just in seeing other people and what they have experienced through, and not through us, but it's through us being able and being available to serve. So hope
Yeah.
that is a good
No,
example.
that's awesome, and I love how Matt said like sometimes he'll get up early to help you or cook, because so many people think in the Christian relationship it's whatever the man says goes, and they twist Ephesians chapter 5 where it says, "Wives, submit to your husband," but they forget verse 21 who comes before that. It says mutual submission, and it's that loving servant leader type relationship that can happen to help each other shine for Christ. And I believe that that is what Matt and Candace is saying here is with communication, with prayer, you guys can have major impact for the kingdom. Like God brings us together for His glory, and I didn't want to marry someone that was just like Mike. So I two of me the world couldn't handle. So I get that. So but like Sarah and I are totally different people. She's introverted. Uh, Physical touch is her love language, not mine. But we come together and we love on each other, and together we are serving the kingdom. And she got a taste when I was at my last church. She got a taste what it's like to be a couple in ministry, and it was her first taste of that, and that was a good experience for her. And whatever God has for us in the future, we know we want to do it together. So, and I hope that young couples will want this too. Premarital counseling, I tell couples this all the time. You're a Christian, find a good, healthy church and be a part of it. And because here's the deal, I'm going to tell you a secret. Pastors, we don't want to do it all. First of all, we don't have all the gifts. And I had a pastor mentor when I got my first senior pastorate. He told me, Mike, don't be the smartest guy in the room or you're in trouble. So, so pastors, our job is to equip people to do the minute. And I love how you said at the beginning of the episode, Sam was like, just go do it. I love that. That's the kind of people we want in church, is to actually be the church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
and you're,
appreciate
yeah.
you guys, as pastors, and just just seeing that in people too, saying like, and giving them those opportunities and trusting them with those opportunities, because they people can come up with all kinds of great and creative ways to reach people, and so to allow that
Mm,
to happen and to support that and to encourage that and to encourage people. I know you and Pastor Sam, do a great job just allowing people to do that, and Pastor Mike just
mm,
allow people to do that. So I feel, and Sarah, I just wanted to speak real quick about
We love
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah was in our
Yeah,
our rooted
yeah.
group
The first time, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
mm.
so we're super happy that you guys are together, and that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing that I ever watched from the Lord Church was her baptism
Oh,
from yeah, because I wanted to see what she looked like. So but no, I was glad. Uh, Speaking on that, Sarah and I are remarried. Both Sarah was a widow, and she was going through a divorce when she was widowed, and as a pastor, I was pastoring a church. My divorce was very public. So you guys are remarried. Speak to the hope that is in Christ post divorce or post whatever, that God, like for me, there were, and I told Sam in the podcast on Tuesday, I don't know if this Monday or not. I'm doing so many podcasts right now. The episodes are blurring together, but there was a part of me that had to preach to my own heart that God's not done with me,
Mhm.
and that I found hope in the fact that God brought Sarah into my life, and that she wanted to serve together in ministry. And that gave me hope because there was a part of me that I'll admit I thought God was done with me.
Mhm.
And clearly that's not true. But can you guys speak to the hope that is the grace of remarriage?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think just being, we I had no idea that I would, you go back three,
Actually, is it
three,
tomorrow's all right?
yeah, first time we ever
Yeah.
called each other, yeah,
That's
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
And
4 years.
yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
So we, I never imagined this is where I would be, and so, God, opens up doors in ways, even in your darkest places when you can't see, He's working, and so, both of us going through tough things through our divorce, and, I would have never, Candace is a gift to me, and I know that. And so, like, how we met and how it all came about, was just through God's, hand. And sometimes, you go through bad things, and you don't know why, but and life doesn't always work out how you planned it, right? It doesn't always work out how you wanted it to go.
Mm.
And so you end up in a situation that you didn't want to be in. And then I think the key though is just knowing, like, God still loves you. God still cares about you, regardless of where you've been, because tomorrow's a new day. And so
Amen.
for us, we're just excited that we're in that season. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be seasons, this is our journey. It's up and down, right? So it's life. But, He's brought us through this point. So I think just know that there's always an expiration date on your tragedy.
Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. That's a great line. That is a great line. I'm stealing that for a sermon. Yeah. See, I'm honest when I steal quotes. I stole that from Matt. Okay. So
So,
Candace, from your perspective.
so I would just say, oh my goodness, yes, so much hope because it doesn't matter what we've been through in the past. You can learn from the past. You can now appreciate what you have in the present.
Mm.
And I just feel like going through the hard times, it truly makes you appreciate what you have.
Mm.
And God gives you the hope. And I know you had mentioned, Pastor Mike, about, to the younger couples. Well, we're young, right? We're a younger couple. We're like middle-aged couple. So I would
Yeah.
I would give hope to not just like the younger couples. Yes, if you can get it right the first time, that is awesome. I mean, that is amazing. That's what I would definitely encourage you to do everything you can to make it happen and to make it work and to grow and learn together. But if that's not your situation and it's not your story, I think you can have so much more hope because you can start over, you can start fresh, you can start anew. And so I'm just thankful for, God's mercy is new every morning. And so He can give you the hope that, we don't know why we go through what we go through, like, but God knows, and He has a plan. And so I don't have to understand the plan. I don't know His plan, but I have hope that, He put me here in this situation, in this season. I love the church. I love the people at the log church. The pastors are amazing. And what you're doing here is just awesome to to encourage everyone, to share your gifts and your talents. It's awesome to see what, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we can just hope that, God does. And we're thankful that we're in his hands. So.
Yeah, that is a thank you for sharing that, guys. Because I tell people all the time, like certain thorns in life you see coming, and certain thorns you don't. But nothing catches God off by surprise. Like when I went through my divorce, I understood my thorn at CP. I understood the cross. He called me, but those moments made me, even as a mature Christian, even as a pastor, even someone with a theology degree, it took me to my knees, and I had to learn about God again and how He works in pain and trials. So, so if you have gone through something like we have, there's hope. And that Jesus is never done writing your story. And here's the good news. Here's what I tell people: even if the current chapter is dark, the story ends in glory. So we can know that. So limp well and understand you can limp loved. We're all limping, even if you can't see it. Like me, like I'm rocking the limp. So, but other people are limping that you can't see, like relational. So trust Christ. I hope today's episode has helped people. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we say goodbye to the audience?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is just that I think helping and serving, I never realized how much it would give back. I don't even want to say selfishly, because I feel like it's like I we were wanting to give, but in us wanting to give, like I feel like every time it's just come back so much. And I never realized that. So to me, that was a big surprise, is that we do spend a lot of time and effort, but it's such a blessing, and I just feel like it's such a privilege. And um, I don't ever want to go back to, living, a lifestyle that isn't wanting to serve, because I don't know, I feel like the Log Church, they really help position you to understand that, it's not just like, for me personally, like, just about being nice to people and being a good person. It's about taking that next step. And, so I'm excited to see where that'll take us.
All right.
Yeah, I would just say too that when it comes to your walk, that sometimes you don't see results of your work for the Lord for a long time. And so in the Bible and in scripture, it talks about just sowing and reaping, and it talks about like digging, holes and different things for the future. And so when in being prepared, and so we're just trying to live a life where we're preparing for, when it's going to come to an end. And so, when we're doing things and sowing seed, sometimes you may never see that, you may not see it until eternity, but you just keep doing it. And so I think a lot of people, through ministry that I've been in for 20 years, just seeing people come and go, is they get tired, they get weary, they get disappointed by people, or they get hurt by somebody. But we're serving God, not people. And so you just got to kind of like go through that and just push through and just keep sowing seed and just keep pushing, because at the end of the day, the only way you lose is when you quit, when you just stop.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep pushing through and just keep sowing seed. And if you can't do anything else, you just stand, right? You just stand still, and maybe even kneel, whatever it is. But you just don't be moved by the circumstances of life. Don't allow those circumstances to affect necessarily how you have your relationship with God. I know things are tough, and we all been through them, but don't be shaken.
That's the time to reach out to God more, and that's I think.
Yeah.
Anybody that said, "Oh, I went through divorce," let's do that back to what we were talking about before. I never quite understood going through, a divorce. But now I
Yeah.
understand going through, and any challenging times, harder times. It's that those are the times where, that you need to seek God the most.
Yeah, I, as a pastor, I've helped many couples through separation, mediated divorces, stuff like that. But when I was on the other side of the table and I needed people to minister to me, it totally was different. And I remember one of the hardest, humbling things I had to do was go to Christian counseling called Divorce Care that was at a church
Yeah.
where people knew me.
Mhm.
People knew me as a pastor. People I once served at that church. I all that, but the humility of going there and getting help and having people love on me. And we're back. Okay, you there? Okay, guys. Well, so well, the internet was good most of the interview, so I'm glad for that. So I just want to thank you guys for joining the podcast. Um, at the end of the episode, I will have um, uh, information about your church where you attend. So I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everything you're
Okay.
doing.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. We'll see you. Bye.
Goodbye. So that was Matt and Candace. That was Matt and Candace. Um. Do 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 do. Oh no. Okay. So I just want to say, if you're new here, please like and subscribe on YouTube. Help build our community here. Help us to get our content out there to help people trust God in hard circumstances. We here at Limping for Jesus, if you're new here, I am Pastor Mike Matthews. I started this ministry way back in 2014. I was in full time pastoral ministry when I started this. I am in a position of life right now where I have time to really focus on limping for Jesus. And my wife and I are trying to help people trust God in hard things. I was born with cerebral palsy, so if you're new to this, I promise I wasn't drunk on the air. It's just I rock the palsy, and that is where God has. That's where He met me. He met me in my thorn of disability and CP. I found Christ, so out of that came this ministry, and I want to help other hurting people. So until next time, I want to say limp well and limp loved.